Because the real flex in this world is training your mind to be stronger than your feelings and your boundaries to be stronger than your empathy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Limitless conversation. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, I am your host and your favorite friend, Sean. And today we have a special guest. Before I get into the guest, y'all, let me tell you about the podcast. On this podcast here, we talk about expanding and growing and being your best limitless self. We walk through like the journeys of life and what is life showing us? What is it revealing to us? You know, I truly believe that everything in life is a spiritual experience. And so my goal here is to just share the experiences of myself and the people around me and how we all relate and connect no matter how different we feel. So with that being said, we have a special guest here today, y'all. We have Akia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sean, for having me.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. You know, we just kind of talked a little bit about like the nerves about, you know, networking and meeting new people and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really grateful that you agreed to come here and chat with me. I was scrolling TikTok, y'all saw her video. I said, we gotta get her on the pod. She is so articulate. She just said what I was thinking, but I was having a hard time putting it into words, and she just put it into words so perfectly. So I was like,
I'm so glad.
Gifted. Okay. So every episode, I love to start off with where we are currently. So like, what state of mind are we in? What lens are we coming from? And I can go first, and then we can go and see if that's cool.
Yes, that is. Okay. We can do that.
Okay, perfect. So for me today, let me actually assess because I didn't pre-assess. For me today, I am in the space of I'm gonna say two words. It's conquering and balance. So it's my ability to hold the two spaces, right? I mean, totally honest, y'all, today. Today I had a very emotional day. I saw my therapist today, and it was a doozy of a session, but it was a good session. And so just my ability to not get stuck in that, but also like be able to move through. So I'm having a space of just like flowing and moving through and being able to hold space for whatever I'm feeling, but then also holding space for everything that I want, right? And want to keep growing. So right now I'm in a space of just like balance and conquering any emotions that I'm having and knowing that like I'm not the emotions, I'm not the feelings, right? They're an experience that I'm having, but I get to navigate with them. They get to come with me on the journey and I keep them tamed, I keep them good, right? So that's kind of the space that I'm operating from today.
No, I love that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I am in the space of transition. I just recently came out of, some people may call it a dark night of the soul, ego death, but really it's a transition. So I'm transitioning from a mindset, a space that I was emotionally in that made me feel like, what's the word? Not worthy of certain things. Like I wasn't feeling just my best. And now I'm transitioning and knowing that whatever I give, as long as it is 100% in that moment, it's okay. Like it's the best that I can do. So I'm happy. You know, as long as it made me happy, as long as I'm good, you know, it's straight. So I'm in that transition of, like you were saying, as well as flow. So transition of flowing into a new beginning, a new understanding, a new understanding of myself and what it is that I want, I need, I like, you know, just learning more about myself, learning those parts of me that I was missing, those parts of me that I was leaving behind, like bringing them back into my field, my aura, to help me ascend, help me elevate, and truly just transition and transform myself, but in a healthier way. Like I said, these are old parts, but now I'm transitioning them into flowing back into me, to giving me something more and greater, because I am worthy of everything, no matter how I feel, how I act, what's going on, as long as I'm doing my best. So I hope that
That was great. I'm just like, oh, we could go there. I want to go all the places now. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I like, yeah, I totally relate. I feel like even like listening to yours and where I am, they feel very aligned, right? Because it's like that energy. Okay, it's the energy of being able to navigate, but I want to talk about the thing about when you go through this transformation, right, and you're becoming somebody different, there's like
Mm-hmm.
this space where you're assessing what has been and what is. And so like it's like that's so I'm sorry. You know, I just gotta sit in all kinds of stories because it just be like, you know what? You're something. But I love it. I love it because that's where I have been maybe like this last it's been really strong, maybe this last month of like this energy of like I don't want to be recognizable, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was saying like the goal is to not be recognizable. When I was in
Yes.
high school, I hope this thing isn't clicking on here, but when I was in high school, I was like super shy, super
Mm-hmm.
quiet, very to myself, right? And the other day I was on my story, like on my Instagram, just talking to people I went to high school with, and this girl had commented and she was like, oh my gosh, you have a voice. Like you were so quiet, right? And I'm just like, thank you. Like, I don't know how anyone else would have took that, but I was like, it was such a compliment to me because I'm like, that is the goal. Like, the goal is
Mm-hmm.
never for you to see me 10 years later and I'm the exact same Sean, right? I'm like,
Okay.
in my core, the core of who I am might remain the same, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
matures, like it evolves, it changes, it has
Yes.
to grow up with me.
Yeah, I feel that wholeheartedly. Like again, earlier I was saying, whenever you're talking and you're saying all this stuff about yourself, you're really saying it to me. You really are, talking to me on different levels, and I love it. I was the same as that way growing up, just being the shy kid, being the quiet girl, just always in the back observing and looking at life. And then now growing up, and I'm like seeing my old classmates or seeing people who used to know me, and they just, are now seeing a different version of me. They're seeing that light that everyone knew was there, but I just suppressed it. I didn't really just let myself express and show. So I really felt that of just like coming out, like you said, that transition, what we talking about, that transition, changing into something more than what we were.
Than what we
Okay.
were. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So, question: how was that transition for you? How did you navigate that transition?
Ooh. So are we speaking about the last one where I just said whenever we were talking about what space we are in, or just the transition from high school to like now?
So, how you transition from who you used to be to who you are now? Like, what were the
Okay.
things that kind of I guess I can because I kind of work better with examples. I can share mine first. That way you can kind of get how I'm trying to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my things was when I first started being online, it was very uncomfortable for people that I know to watch me. So what I did was I created a totally different alternate page that just no one who knew me had any access to or knew about. That made me feel more comfortable to be more authentic in who I currently am.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm starting to integrate it more where I share more of who I am now with people who have known me in the past. But initially, I kind of had to create a whole separate persona, a whole separate
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Okay, I feel that. I feel that. So, with my transition, it was more so like you saying, kind of transitioning and creating a new persona of who I am. But it was like really just throwing myself out there, kind of like giving myself to the wolves. Like, just
Right.
do it. Just do it in a sense. And it wasn't like I was just doing it where I wasn't comfortable. It had to be a setting that it made me comfortable. So let's say with starting my business and like putting myself out there in front of people to do a little bit of networking and this and that. I knew I was going to first start off with, okay, we're going to have to do like pop-up shops or something. You're not just going to go out to a mall and just go speak to somebody. You have to like have levels to it. So it was always
Right.
levels to my transitions of like transforming myself to who I was to where I am now. So even just getting to this mind space that I am, it was just levels to it where I'm just changing stuff little by little here and there, giving myself grace whenever I do fail, but also recognizing that the journey is it's a journey. Like, it's something that we're forever on. So it's just like recognizing, just keep pushing, that perseverance. Just keep pushing. Where you are at now is not where you're going to be. So that, again, just making those small steps into like what made me out of my comfort zone, like step out of my comfort zone, but not so much where I'm just like freaked out and just cannot function. Like we're gonna make it comfortable but uncomfortable at the same time. It's a balance.
At the same time, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely. I love that. I think that's what's interesting about trying to explain the journey. Sometimes is it's like, well, it's not just one thing. There's so many little steps that are happening that you don't even notice are happening, or you might notice it, but it's hard to recount it because it's like, well, there was like 1,000 little steps to get to here. And there were things that didn't seem so significant, but they were, right? Like making a whole separate page might not have seen, I just thought I just wanted something separate for different people to follow me. You know what I mean? I thought I was just playing with the algorithm or whatever, but it's like, no, that was intentional. There was a reason behind why you were doing that.
Right.
Or just do something as simple as like, say you have say you're trying to move towards abundance mindset, and I know so one of my, this is not, they're not simple, but I'm trying to think of super simple ones. But for example, one of my things, I used to be super afraid of losing relationships. So I would kind of like walk on eggshells or, try to be something for someone else. And it's like, now I'm like, you know what? No, we'll just sit in the discomfort. Like if you like something that I'm doing, like I'm not going to make myself overcompensate for it. I'm not going to do any of that. We're just going to sit in it together. Right. But like these little mindsets are making, not little, but these mindsets are making me, evolve into this newer version of me where, a few years from now, that's going to be second nature. It's going to, right now it's a question. It's like, I have to like think about it. Like, okay, Sean, are you overcompensating? Do you need to slow down? Do you need to do these things? But eventually it's like, it becomes second nature. So these changes that you're making they seem so small. They don't seem, they're mindful, but eventually it just becomes who you are. And then people are like, okay, well, who are you? Because this is not who I knew in high school. This is not what you used to be like. And it's like, well, good.
Right. That transition is definitely what we all should be doing. Evolution, like we're forever growing. So whatever you can do, just grow. Like whatever little step, like you said, it's gonna show in the long run. Those little steps is gonna become big steps in the long run.
Yeah, and I used to be very all or nothing. I don't know if you were like this, but I used to be very like, it's all this way or all that way. So there was no appreciation for the little steps at first. It was like, here's a really simple one. I was decorating my apartment and I'm like, I need to get furniture, right? And it's just like, there was either buy all the furniture, like, which furniture is expensive. So relative, right? Relative, expensive is relative, but furniture can seem expensive. And so I'm like, well, I want to get everything. And then like the idea behind like getting a piece here, here, and here was like, it wasn't enough. It was like, no, it needs to be everything, or we're just not doing nothing, or we're just frozen. So I've been learning like there's like these little things. And so like as simple as that, I'm seeing how that even applies in other parts of my life. Like, right, it started at furniture, but now it's like, oh, maybe that's showing up in the podcast, or maybe that's showing up with you going back to school, or maybe that's showing up in all these different spaces that you just take the most simplest thing. And it's like, no, that's actually showing up in a lot of places in your life.
Yes.
And if you can master it with furniture, then you can like transition to the next thing. You know what I mean? You can master it maybe in the podcast. You can master it in school. You can master it in relationships. So
yes, I like that because it's really, this is what I say all the time. It's really not the external experience or factor that is making the problem. It's something internal, and whenever you look at it internally, it can all go back to like a simple, basic, like really one sentence type of problem, and then you can like make a solution for it. So like you saying, you applying it to the furniture, then the podcast and this and that. It's just the same problem in different experiences. So now you just have to figure out what's the core of that problem. What is it truly trying to teach me or let me know is an issue so I can fix that. And then it will start transforming and transcending in other parts of your life.
Yeah, you start to recognize it. Like, oh, I see. Oh, I've seen you before. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know the signs, you know the symbols. Now we can change it. We can switch it up.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so one thing I noted that you said just now, like a few moments ago, was challenging yourself to be uncomfortable. And this has actually been a big theme for me this year because, clearly the alignment. And so I've been thinking about how, when we're kids, we're more fearless, right? And then the more you grow up as an adult, you become more fearful. I don't, it's because we get more information about the world. This is my theory. We get more information about the world. And then now we have all these things that we consider before we do something. Well, when you're a kid, you don't know any of that. You just know I'm God, I'm a kid, and I can do whatever I want, any way I want to do it. Right. And so I think I'm coming to this space where as an adult, I'm realizing that, well, the child part is important, and then the adult part is important. And then so the growing up for me is like being able to look at all of the contributing factors that the adult have, but still being able to have that childlike feeling of just going and doing it regardless of have the awareness of the things, be strategic, maybe plan smarter. But I want to talk about challenging yourself because I find that as an adult, it's can feel, not that it's true, but it can feel more challenging. So how do you kind of navigate challenging yourself? Like, what are some of the ways that you challenge yourself? And then how do you get over those mind things, if there are, when it comes to doing something different and like out of your comfort zone?
Oh, it's definitely a mind thing for me. Definitely a mind thing. Like I said earlier, I am a Libra moon and a Gemini rising. Those are both air signs. So we dealing with air as the big three, as well as Libra just stellium down the line. So definitely a mind thing. And also our mind is what creates those stories, which then creates those like feelings of fear. Like it's always a thought that comes first. So with the challenges and stuff, I definitely, since it is like for me, I'm overthinking for the most part. So I like to like role play and really just like, kind of set myself up on like the possible questions that could be asked, the way it should move or flow, how I would expect it to go. But obviously I'm leaving room open to understand that anything and all things can happen. Like don't bet on your visions all the time, to be straightforward. It's gonna be a little twists and turns in them because that's life. So yeah, I just really just like, talk to myself for the most part, give myself that encouragement, be my biggest cheerleader in what is to come with that challenge, and just let myself truly just understand that with every challenge, afterwards it's a reward. It's an outcome that's going to be very favorable, whether it is you learning something or you're gaining something, whatever it is, it's going to be positive. It's going to help you in some kind of way. So again, just like really just encouraging myself and just building that self-confidence within to like really move forward in the challenge.
I love that. Okay, can you tell me what the role playing does for you?
So that just like, okay, I don't know if you ever like heard of this before, but they say whenever you envision something, whether like somebody visions that they are working out, whenever they go do it, they are more capable of like being able to do that activity due to the fact that you already mentally lived it. So we live things mentally first before we truly ever physically act them out. So your brain is getting the first experience and then your body is getting the second experience of it. So I just like kind of live it up here and experience, and whatever, say I do think of something that's like negative or not truly what is like an outcome I want to have, I will already live that embarrassment, or I will live that fear or whatever it is. So if it does happen or something in that nature like that happen in the real world, I can more so calm myself down. I can truly now think about it first, like stop and react and not just respond. I can just like give it a moment and, just live it out and go with the flow. So like the role playing just helps me to prepare myself and the experience.
Okay. I love that. Yeah, I never heard it explained that way. I love that. I'm gonna like when I rewatch it, I'm gonna like chew on that and like really digest that. Yeah, because like when I heard you first say it, in my mind, cause I'm pretty sure I've role played in my mind situations and played them out. For me, when I do it, it's more like me showing myself that whatever comes up, I can overcome it. Like the idea of like it's not that deep, Sean. Whatever you're thinking in your mind, like you'll be equipped to overcome whatever it is. So it's kind of like if you can role play it out and you can like make up these different situations and scenarios, like, and you can just as quickly come up with things when it's in that moment, you'll be able to just as quickly come up with things,
Yes,
So
yes. So would you say that is like you're saying with your role play, you're looking at more so if something like negative or not something you want happens, go on, you like, okay, we can overcome that, we can push through, like
right.
Really not, kind of somewhat worrying about what could happen and not truly like the whole experience, like what could be said, what could be done, the positives of it in a sense, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is definitely looking at the negative. Do I ever look at the positive? I think I look at the positives too, but not for the same reason. So if I look at the positives, it's more just the excitement of a possibility. Right?
Okay.
So I look at like the negatives is more like preparing for like whatever comes up, you'll be fine. And I look at the positive of a situation is more like, look, this could happen. Get amped up about the potential of this happening.
Okay. See, what I was thinking with mine is like, I look at both of them, like you saying, it's both of them like the possibility and preparation. But with the positive, I'm like, I know this is about to happen. I kind of just already got a feel of it, and may not be again exactly, but that feeling of okay, it was happiness, it was joy, I received something, it was gained. I'm just like looking at that, like I already know that's gonna happen. Like it's gonna go good. Right. It's like, I don't know, building the confidence because I have to build confidence within myself. Like, okay, this is about to happen. So get ready, like, and don't worry about nothing else.
Yes, and I'm working on that one. I love that though. Cause I'm just more getting excited about the possibilities. So that's like, okay, whatever happens, we'll be fine either way. But I like what you're saying as far as just getting excited and like affirming it, claiming this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to be.
Exactly. Yes, that's it. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the question I asked you, let's see if I can answer it. The question was, challenging yourself. And what do you do when it comes to challenging yourself? So the reason that question came up is because, like I said, this year I've been saying a lot. I want to challenge myself. I don't know the mind thing, but in my mind, right, there's something about if I learn something new or do something new, it will activate a different part of my brain, right? It'll stimulate a different part of my brain, and then that will in turn do something huge for me. So like that's why I really like owned in on that question, because I'm really in the space of, Sean, challenge yourself. Like I want to learn a new language. I want to take a dancing class. Like I want to just stimulate a different part of me because I want to be comfortable with doing new things. So I think for me, like we talked about, off camera, like I'm a fire sign, right? So like that's where like when it comes to like what am I gonna do? How am I going to do things that are uncomfortable? I have to just lean into my impulsiveness in those moments, because then that doesn't allow me to be scared. It's like, Sean, if you just bite the bullet, and I know for me, if I commit to something, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm gonna do it. Yes. So it's like if you could just get to the commitment, if you could use that impulsiveness to like click the button to buy the thing or click the button to do the thing or just like walk out to do it, then you're gonna do it. You're not gonna stop once you start.
Right. So, I like that.
Yeah, so I love that. Okay, so let's talk about getting to know ourselves, right? Because we talked about this a little bit in the pre-conversation, and how a big part of navigating your mindsets is understanding where you are, who you are, and where you are. So what were some of the tools that you used to start to get to know yourself? Like, where did that journey kind of start for you, if you recall?
Oh, okay. So really getting to know like myself at a core, I started around like the 2017 era, but it really kicked in 2020. I feel like for a lot of people, that's when everybody kind of just went online because we were stuck in the house. Like it was a different era in that time. So yeah, it started back in 2017. I was just moving. Yeah, I just moved. And with that move, I was already in the mindset of just kind of like leaving the church behind. I was born and raised as a Christian. So as I was getting older, just kind of learning more for myself exactly what is being said in the Bible and stuff like that. And just wanting to get to know, God, I now call it the higher power or the divine source, just getting to know it at a core for myself. Right. Because I already believed and known in the Bible, them saying we are an image of God and just kind of relating us back to God. So I'm just like, okay, to get to know it, obviously is to know myself. So, I just kind of was going through that phase, and then I ran into someone, they introduced me to Baha'i, or I think that's what it's called, Baha'i. I don't know if you ever heard of that religion before, but so yeah, and it's just like a free flowing like religion, just same principles. Like all of it's the same, honestly, but same principles. Just live your life, one supreme overhead power that's over us all. And it really just opened me up to start studying other religions and looking into other things. And luckily my sister at the time, she was into it as well. And around 2019, right before 2020 and COVID hitting, we just started talking about just conspiracies. Like she's more so in conspiracies. I'm more so into like, just self, like how to build myself, always reflecting and everything. So she was like talking about that, and we just started getting on the conversation and going down the rabbit hole of just life in general. And from there, like I said, 2020 hit, you see more people posting online. I'm starting to gain and grasp more and more information. Like I was getting it, but now, it's coming at a speed like no other. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. And yeah, like I said, that was just like from 2017 until now, that was really truly just knowing myself, like I said, at a different level than I ever had before. Really just peeling back layer after layer after layer of who I am and why I like what I like and do what I do and move and operate how I do. Some of the tools and stuff I use with that whenever I was going through that transition, or as I'm going through this life journey, is like journaling. That's my main one. Again, my mental space, like the mental capacity I have to like just overload it. I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes it's the overload, but I don't even want to use that word. You got to be careful with how you speak. Words are spells, is powerful. So just really just gaining a lot of information, gaining like new information and stuff. I love to learn. Gemini rising, so I'm just pulling information like everywhere. Gemini is actually like the opposite of Sagittarius. They on the same axis. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, like it's like the sister sign, I've heard. Right?
Yep, they are the sister sign. So yeah, I love information. So getting it, journaling, what I've come to realize and truly understand, comprehend about myself in life. Journaling actually was a part of my routine and my daily life back in third grade. I didn't even realize that was like something that was truly beneficial for me, that truly just helped me to understand and express myself. At the end of the day, truly express who I am, because again, I was quiet. I was that shy kid. So my expression was to write. And I didn't know that was going to lead up to here now of I'm doing it more and more every day. But yes, journaling started back in third grade. I used to like journal, used to write little short stories, and again, just my diary, keeping up with just...
Get out of my mind, because I was like thinking, I was like, oh my God, we had diaries.
Yes, diaries. It was not even just aware at the time that these diaries truly was like, our book of life. That's what I see it as. Was our book of life is truly just, us breaking down our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts and our actions and everything around us to understand it. Like we've been doing that. We've been doing that.
Not journaling being the adult version of diaries.
Okay. And then I just be studying yes, journaling being the adult versions of diaries. It really was. I love that. Look at the evolution, y'all.
We had the tools young.
It did. But unfortunately, we didn't have people around us, or some of us say that much. I know I didn't have the people around us to really truly say like, this right here is your tool. This is a tool you should definitely use every single day, and really help yourself to navigate in this world, because it's a lot of information. It's a lot of things that's going to come your way. And the only way you are going to truly just navigate and understand and want to just keep pushing is if you have a way to express yourself. That's my way of expression. Journal it out, get it out your mind. So yeah, like I definitely love to journal. That is my go-to. I will write something down in a heartbeat, and I love like pen to paper. I don't even like to type. It's not my thing. Don't no, I like to write pen to paper because it just gives a different vibe. It, makes it come alive. Like you seeing it truly just emphasize. Like it's
do you ever like write a journal entry and then you go back and you read it out loud and then it just like it hits even
all
more.
the time.
You writing it and when you go back and read it out loud, it's like you like feel it even more.
Yes. He's like, what was I on? Like, who am I at this point? What is this? Yes, I go back and like, because I'm a self-realization person. I love to like sit back and just, again, think about my life. Like, how can we upgrade? How can we change? How can I make this better? What can I do to shift and grow and get more? Like, that's just me. I'm a solution-based type person. I like to grow. And I'm just like, I love going back reading like my entries, seeing the manifestations that I wrote. I remember writing in my journal like some years back after I had gotten in an accident and stuff like that. I had lost my car. It was totaled out. So I'm like, I cannot be without wheels. Like I need my vehicle. I need a car. So yeah, I started journaling, like we hear now people saying manifestation journaling, But it was like really, I wasn't even focused on more so just like how to do it. It was just like, this is what I want and I'm writing like I already have it. So it can just come because I'm thankful for it and I want it. So that's what I want. So yeah, it's journal. Like I said, that's why I recommend to everyone. But then, you also have, some people like do other things. I like to do other stuff as well. I'm not like just a one type person. I do so many other things, but whether it's going outside, grounding, without my shoes on, taking a walk in nature, playing my sound bowls. I love sound frequencies. I love just sitting back and just listening to instrumentals, jazz or whatever, and just let it play. Just let it stimulate my mind. Again, learning new information, because when you do learn and do different things, you gain a different perspective of life and you're able to just broaden your horizon, your aura, your essence, to just encompass more. So I'm just like, I love to just do whatever that's not entertaining information or external factors that's not going to help me at the end of the day. Like if it's not here to grow me, I don't even care to, do it. And that's what I feel like whenever it comes to this self-awareness journey, and what you can do is just really just pouring into yourself things that makes you happy, that makes you just feel uplifted and positive and full and whole.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. That was that was good. No, that was really really good. Yeah, I'm like an avid journaler, and like so for my journey, it started similar in 2020. I started going to therapy, and when I tell you, my therapist told me to start journaling, I was annoyed. I'm like, no, I did not just pay you for you to tell me the most basic thing that every therapist is gonna say. Journal?
Right. Like, wait.
Right. I was so irritated, but I started off actually. I didn't think to mention this ever, but I started off actually video journaling. So I would get in my car because I wasn't comfortable yet, like writing and journaling. So I would like get in my car. So this might be a tool for someone to use as well. I would put my camera in my what the thing called, the little tripod, my little car mount. That's what it was, and I would just talk. I would just talk about because I also had a background doing like YouTube, and so I was always comfortable like sitting in front of a camera talking. So that was more like second nature to me than like sitting and journaling. So I would turn the camera on. I would just talk. This is what's going on today. This is how I'm feeling. I'll be on. I don't know where I was going. I was on these long car rides. Because I was staying with someone else at the time, and they lived in a more like rural area. Like everything wasn't close, so I would be going far. So I would just turn on that camera and just talk, and I would be crying, and I was releasing so much. And then now I have moved to like just to journaling, just writing now. And for me, it's been really helpful because when I journal, in my mind, I can think a lot of thoughts at one time. But when I'm journaling, I can only write but so many thoughts, baby. I cannot write that much at one time. time. So I'm like forced to sit with finishing a thought. I don't know if that's giving ADHD or not, but
right. I feel that.
it's like, no, we're gonna finish this thought, so I have to finish it. So journaling has also been a big part of getting to know myself. Of course, spirituality, living out on my own. That was huge. I think I'm like, everyone should do it. I don't know if it's everyone. It's obviously not in everyone's journey, but I'm like, if it's in your journey, do it. Because there is nothing like when you live by yourself and you don't have to be held accountable to someone else, or you're not doing something for the satisfaction of anyone else. And there's a freedom you also feel when you don't paying all your own stuff. So you're not just doing stuff out of obligation. You know, it's like, do I actually want to do this or not? And then when you learn what you want to actually do, you learn a lot about who you are and how you prefer to navigate. So living alone was a huge part. Also, I'm not okay. So I'm like aware, and I'm like what do they call like I like to be interested in a lot of different things, but I don't necessarily dive deep into all of the things, right? So on a surface level, I know quite a bit about zodiacs and stuff, and so astrology was big for me because learning more about what does it mean to be a Sagittarius, right? Some people don't like it because they feel like it's very general. But at the end of the day, whether it's general or not, if it resonates with you, it resonates with you. Exactly. So I kind of just took it. I'm like, okay, well, I like this part. This makes sense for me. I could develop this more. Then when I learned that I had a ton of water in my chart, even though I'm like, I'm a fire sign, but I'm like, I have a ton of water. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense why everything is so intense for me. Like I have a ton of Scorpio. So it's like, okay, everything is about death and transformation and rebirth. And then when you add that with the fire and the desire, it's like this desire to share all of the intensity. Yes. So understanding like the zodiacs was really helpful for me to like get just some like core characteristics. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. That tracks. Now I can put a name to this thing that I'm feeling that maybe I don't know how to express. But when someone has a whole chart of all these different qualities, I'm like, okay, yeah, that resonates with me. That's not me, but that's me, you know? So with zodiacs, like take what resonates and then leave what doesn't. But that was also a really big, those are like some of probably the biggest catalysts for me with like really getting to know me. Those are some of the tools that I really used a lot.
Yes, it can go like so many places, so many different, you know, ways and avenues and routes and just everything. It's so much. Like every person is unique, every journey is unique, every just like outlet you use is going to be unique. How you use it is going to be unique. So yeah, I definitely feel that because like you're saying with the zodiacs, like that really got me into learning a lot about myself because that's like the blueprint of our lives. Like you have to know your time of birth, and you have to know your birth date. So, you know, these are personalized, unique numbers to you. And when you are able to pull up this chart, you're able to see just a basic blueprint. Not saying you have to structure your life like this blueprint says, but it's helping you to navigate and see exactly how you operate and maybe why you do some of the stuff you do. Because a lot of us operate out of unconsciousness, you know, and I feel like once you read the zodiac or read your natal chart and see your zodiac signs and even numerology. I'm not sure if you're into numerology, but I got into numerology. They also got like carology and you already know tarot.
Carology? That's based on your car? That's not based on your car, right?
No, not car, but card, like the playing cards.
Card. Okay. Let me find out. Okay.
Yes. But trust and believe, like I feel like every little thing happens for a reason. Every little thing in our life is like a significance or some kind of, you know, connection to something else. So yeah. Who knows? But they do. It's like so many types of divinations that people use, and avenues that are used to just again show you the blueprint of your life. It's just a blueprint. It's just a tool. Like don't take it for tried true, or you know, don't take it for just like this is what it is and this is what it's not. It's just a blueprint, and it's here just to help you, to guide you through this lifetime. Because again, it's like we all say, everybody here, it's a lot like we go through. It's a lot of information that, you know, we obtain. It's a lot of just experiences and just life. Like life be life. It's a lot of life that goes on. So, you know, this is just a blueprint that help you out. I love to like help people just to feel more comfortable in learning about that stuff, because you should know about who you are. It's the easiest way. It's already written out for you. So you don't have to go do too much searching, you know, on the basics. It's really there already for you.
Yeah. That's like a big thing I always say as well. It's just there's so many avenues that you can take. There's not a right way and it's not a wrong way. And I love like talking to people who also are not judgmental, right? Like I get that you're very like I love that because it's like some people get so hooked on like how they do things that it's like this is the tried and true, and it's like who's to say that there's no one way. If you're trying to get somewhere, okay, here goes an analogy. If you're trying to get in your car and go to the nearest Taco Bell, 'cause I love Taco Bell, right? There are several routes to get to Taco Bell. It's not one way to get there. So any place that we're all getting to the same place, but there's not just one way. So that's why I love like sharing how we all get to know ourselves because like explore a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And like you said, nothing is set in stone because there are certain things that as you grow as a person, those things aren't going to apply anymore. You know what I mean? If a few years ago, there wouldn't have been no like, oh, I'm this deep, intense person. I hadn't even scratched that surface yet. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I started to understand myself more that like, oh, now that I'm in here with me, now I can understand the world more. Now I can understand other people more. I can have more empathy. I can sympathize. I can have perspective. But that wasn't me a few years ago. So if I would have read that Zodiac a few years ago, it would have been like, no. Right. Our ability to be flexible with it,
right.
You know?
You have to be open. You have to stay open.
You have to be open. So kind of speaking on empathy, segue. So, the main reason that I have found you and that this conversation is even here because there was this TikTok. There was this video. It might be on Instagram too, but I was on TikTok when I seen it. Scrolling, just mind my business, and just felt like, oh my God, she gets it and she knows exactly what I'm trying to say. Do you mind sharing the quote and like so we can just really dive into it? It's your quote now, girl. It's your quotable. Like somewhere.
Okay, hold on. Let me sip the tea.
Okay.
All gone. All right, so the quote was, the real flex in this world is training your mind to be stronger than your feelings and your boundaries to be stronger than your empathy. That is the quote. It's short, sweet, and sweet.
Chills again.
Love.
Chills again. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this honestly might roll into two parts. I'm not gonna lie because we have chatted, but
we did. I love it.
I didn't want to not touch on this because that like I saw that video at a time where like I was telling you earlier, I was on a fast, and as I'm on this fast, I'm a fire sign. So it's fire signs can be very impulsive, and they can be very just like high driven. Like, what's this thing making me feel good, you know? And so being someone that would navigate like that, I realized through my journey that sometimes, Sean, you need a plan. Sometimes, Sean, you need to slow down. Sometimes you need to assess like the bigger picture and not just the smaller picture. Sometimes you need to get a grip and get grounded before you make decisions. And so on the fast, it really, another thing that seems so simple, like I wasn't eating after, I wasn't eating after a certain time. I couldn't have sweets, and I have a massive sweet tooth. I love sweets. Same. To not have sweets for a whole month, it was like,
Girl, right here, you talking to a sweet tooth. Like.
Just had cookie today. So I couldn't have sweets. I couldn't have, I'm vegan, but I couldn't have any like imitation meats. I couldn't even have tofu, which I love some tofu. So it was just, I was starving myself of things that I was challenging myself to like take things away that I normally would want. So when those desires came in to have those, I had to really assess my commitment, right? Like my commitment to what I said I wanted to do. And can I stick to something? Now, granted, I know I can stick to things. I didn't want vegan. That's clearly sticking to something. But that was more of a lifestyle change. But this moment was just more of me showing myself that I don't have to follow every single impulse that I have. And so And that, in fact, sometimes it's important not to. So, so when I heard that, I'm like, and then so it started off as a fast, and then I watched it translate into relationships in my life, right? So I don't know if you mind also sharing your journey too, when you kind of came to realization, but at that time I was kind of coming out of a relationship dynamic, right? And so I had a certain empathy level for like that person, right? And like how they might be feeling, and how are they going to feel if I shut down communication, if I don't say this, if I stop responding. And then it was like, well, Sean, what are you doing this for, right? There's a greater goal at hand. You know what you want. You know that this isn't necessarily bringing you closer to what you want, right? So as much as you feel empathetic towards a situation, that's okay to feel that, right? But it doesn't mean you have to act on it just because you feel it.
That's it. That is it. That is it. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I went and looked up. I like looking up the definition of words and stuff like that too. So we use sympathy and empathy interchangeable and stuff, in which they are. The thing is, though, I was like, but what is like the real difference of them? And empathy, they said like the main difference is empathy is really looking at someone else's perspective, like putting yourself in their shoes. So now you are sharing the feelings of how they're feeling or what you think they may be feeling. And now you are working yourself up. You are changing and shifting your own energy because you are now feeling empathy for this person. You are like really just taking on that energy. You're trying to share that energy with them. And it's like, sometimes you can't do that because now you want to put yourself in this space, whether it's like something you can get out of or not. Why would you want to lower your own, your own energy? Why would you want to lower your own self to like, kind of go down on somebody else's level, especially if like the situation is not ideal for you to do that. It's not something for, it's not for you to really put yourself in their shoes for. It's just really for you to be there as just holding space for them. So now you're holding space, but you're also taking on that energy. And now you are just feeling, again, weighed down and not yourself. You are not yourself at this point. Whenever you are just giving too much of that empathy to somebody else, you are not living in your own embodiment of like true energy. You are now on their level, and their level may not be your level. It may be underneath you.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I like that. And what was sympathy?
Sympathy was just really looking at it from your own perspective and just you feel for them, but it's from your own perspective. So you're looking at it in like an experience that you have had, and you're not just putting yourself in their shoes and their experience right now. So it was just kind of, like I said, it's interchangeable. So that's why it's kind of like, I really don't even like to separate the two because all these words mean the same thing. But again, empathy is from you're putting yourself in their shoes. It's their perspective. So now you are experiencing that whole dynamic of what they're experiencing. You're experiencing it too. And then sympathy will be just looking at it from your own lens, from an experience that you can feel, whether it's like, sad or mad or happy or whatever it is for, the negative energies, but feeling those negative energies for them, but not like truly stepping in their shoes and taking on that energy. I feel you, but I'm not like here to share it with you and bringing it, and bring it down, bring my own energy down for you.
Yeah, I like it. Yes. That's kind of like reminding me today of what I even talked about in my session. I'm very transparent here, child. Well, I was talking about my session with my therapist today, and me moving into a space where I'm probably moving more towards sympathy, right? And it's like, because when I drop into this space with you, when I'm on a journey with you, then it's so strong. And I would almost consider your feelings over my feelings, right? So it's like, oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. So we have to be able to hold space for what you're feeling. I'm sorry that you're feeling that. And also, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. This is what's best for me over here.
Yes. I'm so, like you said, I'm sorry, but I can't just put myself where you at. I don't want to feel that. I really don't. I don't want to put myself in those shoes because I don't want to be in that mind space and having, again, my energy thrown off. Like,
yeah, it's not given at all.
at all. So, like, just having those clear, and really with the like, you can still feel empathy for people. So, like, in my life, I will feel empathy for like a family member, or something like that. Say something happened to them, or and stuff like that. I may feel like a little empathy, or say it is like someone close to me and they pass away in their family. Like, you feeling that empathy. I'm putting myself in your shoes due to the fact that I can just, like, I can't feel that. I'm an empath anyway, so I'm still feeling some energy here and there, but I know how to block it off, and that's that boundary. Right. Yes, that's that boundary, is protecting it, because again, there's only so much of my energy that I can give before my cup is empty. And from there, how can I pour from an empty cup? How can I give you something that I don't have myself? How can, like this, how can I shift like my energy? Now I have to like worry about shifting my energy back up because I have put myself down due to the fact of trying to make somebody else make somebody else feel like, they have someone, when in reality, I can still be there, but not, again, put myself in that same type of energy and that same mindset that you're in. I feel you, but I can't just get into that aura with you. I cannot step into that, then into the next door with you. Like, you have to do that yourself. I'm already there. You have to step.
You have to step. Yeah. Yeah. How that kind of like plays out for, like, so I think about that. So again, going back to zodiacs for a second, I'm a Sag, which Sages are kind of known for being, I wouldn't say flighty, but not, they could like not care. Basically. Right. They could just really not care. And then also, I have a Cancer rising. So it's also like, I like have that nurturing feel, want to heal the world. So it's like the two things going on, right? So for me, I have to, when it comes to me being empathetic, what I'm learning now is being able to hold space for you. But like I said, being able to also have that detachment, being able to say, like, I get what you're going through. Because if I don't have the empathy, then my approach would be very cold. It would be kind of like shut down. So the importance of the empathy for me is so that I know how to handle you with care. So I'm still going to do what's best for me, but I'll be gentle in my approach. I'll be softer in my approach, right?
Compassion, just give them compassion.
Yes. Yeah. So
I feel that. And that's why I was telling you earlier too, when we were speaking before the podcast, I was saying how I have a lot of air and then earth signs. So that's where this like
that look.
You're right. Like, that's like that stoicism, and just like I'm the same way. Like, if I'm not giving sympathy or empathy, like, people call me cold. Like, I have been called cold before. Like, I've been called cold, which is crazy. But, at the same time, I understand, like, where that line is, and I understand how much I can give, because I know who I am as a person now. Like, I have understood myself, and I kind of always been like this, where I don't give a lot of myself. So now that I am, I'm just learning more and more of those boundaries and those lines that I have to really set for other people, because I just know how much of myself I can give, and I don't want to just overgive and not be able to just pour back into myself, not be able to just be all I need to be for myself. Because if I'm not straight, who's going to make sure that I'm good? If I'm not okay, who's going to, make sure that I'm feeling better or doing better, or whatever the case may be? Who's going to be there for me if I'm not there for myself? So I have to make sure
like, even
that
if people are there, it's not their responsibility.
Right, exactly, because they don't have to do it. They can up and change at any point, and that's the whole thing. I was actually, I'm going to have to get some water in a minute. I was actually looking at a video today, and the title was, "What is the boundaries between selfishness and self-care?" So what is the boundaries? Like, what, where do you stop the selfishness to then start the self-care. And we have to start learning those boundaries within ourselves. Like, how much can you give? How much can you do for somebody else before at this point it's a detriment to yourself? It's not what is like truly ideal for you. Whether you probably don't want to do it, you having second thoughts or whatever the case may be, you may not may not be feeling it, but like you have to know your boundaries. You have to really understand. I love to say understand because it's understanding who you are in the inner side, like in the inside, it's understanding. So understand, overstand, and comprehend who you truly are, and to be able to like showcase and tell other people, because if you are not aware of those things, they are going to get walked all over. Like your boundaries, who you are, like you are going to get walked all over if you do not set certain things in place for yourself. You have to like set up a safety net for yourself, not walls, but definitely, little fences or something to make sure things are not crossed at certain points in your life, like at certain time frames. Because again, if you're not straight, if you don't make sure you are straight, nobody else will at the end of the day. They don't have to, they're not obligated. They are there as your resources and your tools. And if they want to decide to like stop working for you, they can. They don't have to be there.
Yeah. So we talked actually about both the mind being stronger than your feelings, which directly ties to the boundaries being stronger than your empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about boundaries before we close out for the night. Because I heard you say walls, right? I feel like sometimes boundaries feel like walls.
Yes.
To other people, and even like sometimes to yourself, it's like, dang, am I being cold? Am I being too harsh? So how has your experience been setting boundaries? Like, if you want to share some of the boundaries you've had to set, or even not the specific ones, but just what has been your experience setting boundaries, the challenges, if you had any, and what you've learned about them?
Okay, so setting boundaries for me at first was hard. I'm not even gonna lie. I was consider myself a little bit of a people pleaser, just a little bit. I want to make sure everybody around me, feels good. Everything is going harmonious. That's that Libra in me. I want everything to be balanced. I don't like confrontation. Like, don't. I don't like all that, the rah rah. I like everything to be calm. I like it calm. So the boundaries, it was a little hard, but not so hard due to the fact that, like I said, some people have called me cold. So I have that balance of knowing when to put my foot down and when to like, just kind of let things go and let it be. And whenever I first started like setting boundaries, I'm trying to think of like one, like just a basic one I had to set. Right now I'm thinking like in a relationship wise.
Okay.
And I remember setting a boundary of, I would like for you to text me, whenever things are not going to, what was it exactly? Because I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. It's been so long. This journey. But basically, like, this is so basic, but it was just like text me whenever you get off of work, so I can start like cooking and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, text me. I just want to make sure, again, that Virgo, everything all in order. Your food is high. We good. We good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and at first it wasn't going as planned and stuff like that. It was like, having to remind the person and stuff like that. But then after a while, it started, to happen. Then it dropped off. And right then I was like, okay, so I asked this again. This is a basic boundary. This isn't like deep. I have so many more, but with the basic boundaries, again, you have to learn how to communicate them all. Like, if you start basic, you can then be able to communicate the rest of them, the deeper ones, the ones that is a little bit harder to say. So this was a little bit easier, So I'm like, seeing it, I'm like, hey, it's stopped. I would like for you to do that. I reminded you at this point, if you do it again, you're crossing a boundary because I let you know. I was reminding you, but I shouldn't have to like keep doing this. Is something that's getting repetitive, and in my eyes, whenever you are telling somebody and you have to repeat it over and over and over again, obviously they're not listening. They don't care, and that boundary is not something they are really taking into consideration as something they should be doing, basically. So So yeah, it's just like really stepping up and just asserting myself, opening up my throat chakra, with being shy, not really speaking much. Again, it had to start off small, and that was like super minor, like super minor, and it was something I wanted to happen. So I was making sure that it was, being done. But if it wasn't, obviously, I have to say something. I have to speak up and say what I need to say. Talk my stuff. Talk what I need to talk. And like I said, with the rest of them, it's like really just being able to, if you cannot articulate and put together in words exactly what you're trying to say, at least have some kind of basic premise. And again, that understanding, you have to like understand exactly what you need. Just get a basic term for it, like, hey, I'm not feeling this. This is making me uncomfortable. A little bit goes a long way, because once you start, again, acknowledging it and speaking it and expressing it, from there, that's whenever it is. Yes, exactly. Like, they know you are speaking it, it is set, and if it is crossed, from there you cannot have no other feeling, no feeling of regret or worry if they are not happy about the outcome, about how you're going to respond to it, because you have spoke, you have said your piece. And if that boundary is crossed, that's whenever you should feel disrespected, honestly. And that's why I said start off small. That's why I started off small, because that's the only one I can think of right now, due to the fact of, like, everyone in my life, I'm single, so everyone in my life, I don't have to worry about boundaries anymore, because they already know we've been through this.
We've been doing this. Right,
exactly. But with my previous relationship, I knew, again, I spoke like many boundaries, starting off with that small example that I gave, and it went down to further and deeper ones. So I'm like, now I know, and it may not be to the fullest extent of every boundary, how I would exactly like it, but I do have set ones, and now I'm able to express them and communicate them to the next person. As you starting to learn somebody, you tell them what it is that is a non-negotiable and what is, something that you are able to look past. And, you have those deep conversations, and you come to, like I said earlier, the overall just premise and basic of like these boundaries that you have, that for a fact are non-negotiable. It's not something that you are going to overlook if it happens and you already expressed it. So like I said, if they don't accept that expression and really take it to heart and understand where you're coming from and want to make sure that you feel secure and assured, then you should feel disrespected and keep it moving.
As you worded it, you like it being a basic boundary, but it's really not basic, because when you think about it at the bigger picture of it, it's the boundary's communication. And exactly. I'm a person who needs communication. Some people may not need it. Go with, whatever. Just doing whatever. La 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 la. That don't work for me. I'm gonna need communication. And I love what you said about there comes a point where you start to feel disrespected. And you should feel disrespected, right?
Okay, however you want to feel, but I know how I feel.
Right. That's somewhere like them. My therapist has been telling me, like, boundaries. When people disrespect them, there's consequences that come along with it. And so for me, I have to use that because I can be so empathetic and compassionate and understanding. I could have in the past let people disrespect the boundaries and be like, well, they're just healing. They're just trying to figure things out. And now it's given, you're being real disrespectful, and we're not having it. And this is a problem, and you need to fix it, or you need to go. That's just what it's going to be.
That's a non-negotiable. That's a non-negotiable. Me and my friends, we wrote out a list. Well, really my family, but we wrote out a list of like what's non-negotiable and what's not, because you have to have that clear cut like explanation, or really just understanding of it, and writing it down. Going back to journaling is the best way to do it, because you already written it down. So once you put it out of your mental onto paper, it's real now.
Yeah.
Stick to it. That's your law at this point. That's your book of laws. Like, stick to it.
And the good thing about writing it down too, what I've been learning about boundaries is that they are you put them in place where when you're in a grounded space, right? Where you're feeling balanced. So that if you are having a good day or if you were having a bad day, you could come back to, like you said, your book of law, your things that you set, like, this is what's guiding me. This is what I'm going to go by. This is what feels the best for me, no matter what space I'm in. Like, I know that this is solid for me. So I love the thing about writing it down or just having it set in stone so that when you have your feelings coming into play, they're not navigating the ship. It's like, I see you. I see you. Like the other day, I was having a good day and someone came in and they disrespected my boundary. But because I was having such a good day, I almost like allowed it. It was like, I'm having a good day. Like, I'll bend on this one. I'm like, no. Because I thought that boundaries were only for bad days. Like, I only had really experienced it when I was like, I'm having a bad time. I need this boundary. Right. But this was the first time that I had like been having a really good day. And because I was having such a good day, I was feeling so given, like, no. It's still no. It's still,
right. It's still no. You gotta sit down one next to me. We can't do that.
You're not gonna benefit all these good vibes, okay? So yeah, that's been a big thing with boundaries for me. For me personally, setting boundaries has been a very empowering journey, right? I cry about them. I said that earlier. I cry about the boundaries. Sometimes I struggle with the boundaries, but when I enforce them and when I stand by them, there's a level of empowerment I feel for myself, right? It's like, Sean, you made this plan, you know what's works for you, and you're doing what's the healthiest for you and what you have an awareness. And sometimes when you set boundaries, people have pushback. I don't know about you, but the people in my life like to throw tantrums. Like a child. Like a child. And we used to would give in. Like I was like, I was a little kid. Now I'm like, oh my God, you are throwing an adult tantrum and it's actually not okay.
Right.
It's actually
right at all.
Okay at all. And you go ahead and throw your tantrum, but because I know me and I know I'm empathetic, throw it somewhere else. Throw it somewhere else. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be a part of it. Do what you need to do when you gather yourself and you can come back.
Yes.
Maybe you can come back and talk about it. Maybe you don't need to come back.
Okay. Then we should just leave this alone, right? At this point.
Leave this alone. But boundaries they're not selfish. They are, as you said, they're a self-aware tool. They're something that we use because we've put them in place when we're in our clearest state of mind, and it's like it's your guide. It's your thing that you can always rely on and always come back to. So boundaries for me has definitely been an empowering journey. It's been a hard journey. I'm not gonna act like it was easy. It was a hard journey. And it's one that I'm still on, right? The boundaries get, like you said, they evolve. They get more and more tight. And strict. And one of my struggles with my boundaries was I used to be a really big over-explainer. That's that people-pleasing thing, right? It's like,
yes.
I'm trying to over-explain this boundary. I need you to understand why it's in place. Like, I'm just explaining. And it's like, I had to come to this point where it's like, I didn't explain it into the ground. And there's nothing more I can say about it. It's just, I'm still giving you what you want because you just want the access. You just want to be able to still do what you want to do. So I'm not going to keep over explaining myself. I'm going to say it one time and I'm going to say it clear and I'm going to say it frankly. And depending on what the boundary is, depending on who the person is, right? If it's a non-negotiable boundary, right? Because we're human.
Right.
So there's a level of grace that we have to give because if someone tells me for the first time, I might not remember it. I might not be the best at it, right? So, but it comes to a point, are you just totally disregarding what I'm saying or are you progressing? Are you getting better? Those are like things you have to assess when it comes to like that cut. Like, are you trying or are you not? Because if you're trying, it's like you're not trying to disrespect me. You know what I mean? Are you actively trying? Are you just saying you trying? There's multi-layers to it. So this is kind of like the basic brief of it. But of course, you have to always use your discernment and assess. And then if you need some assistance, try to get some assistance. That's why I be in therapy. Or you can journal. Like,
journaling, a wise friend. There's so many people out here you can talk to now. Like, definitely get that help because we are not supposed to be doing it alone anyways. But we also have people who are just interested in topics like this, who are going to lead you down the right path. Like, that's it.
Get you a good podcast.
Okay. Let them know.
Get you a good podcast to listen to. However, there's so many different ways. But like you said, that's a whole thing I think I'm not going to go into, because I can go into that whole thing about like, you're not here to do it alone. Like,
yes.
We have to lean into like, you get a book, get a therapist, get a friend that you can trust that's on the same path. Okay. So, whether it's your parents, someone, if you can trust your parents and their wisdom, a spiritual guide or someone virtually, whatever it is, when you're learning something new, like boundaries, I don't know. I didn't really grow up with boundaries. I didn't really grow up knowing anything about it. I grew up where they were very loose and weren't enforced. And so it was like a totally new realm for me. So it's like, okay, I need resources. Like we talked about earlier, I need to expand my knowledge on this. I need resources. I need people. I need things that help me to educate myself, because this is a totally new space that I just have never been in. And not to this extent, at least. So.
See, and that was new information there, because I grew up with boundaries being in the South. Oh no, things was a certain way. Like, y'all don't be up in grown folks' business. Like, don't be up in, like little stuff like that. And then growing up, just my mom as well, she was like more so that structured masculine type energy. So it was set in stone. This
is the law, right? Yes. Okay. So when you say it like that, it's like I did grow up with those boundaries, but not necessarily personal ones.
Okay.
Have like the core ones. Like if something happens, someone does something, this is not okay. You tell people, right? But not the ones of like your emotional well-being. You know what I mean? Like things like that. I didn't really know that there needed to be boundaries here, right? So yeah.
Okay. I see. I see. I love it though. Just like how we all just like, again, we connected on it, because I can understand where in my childhood and growing up, I kind of didn't have those either. But then again, I did, because I've always been this person. Like, I've always been that person who's observing and truly just not really, I wouldn't say fully aware, like don't get me wrong, not this wise. Obviously it comes with time, but definitely wiser than my peers and my age, honestly, and truly just noticing like everybody don't deserve like my energy, my attention, anything that's dealing with me. And then too is like also another story, a backstory of just feeling like people just really was focused on the outer part of me, not really the inner part. So it's like, y'all don't really care to know about me anyway. So I'm not even about to give you that, I'm cutting you off. Like I really had a wall. Like we was talking about boundaries being a wall. Like, no, it was a wall for me at first. And now I'm slowly letting them down to be more so just a fence. Like, okay. Like I can see y'all now. Like it's no wall. I'm not blocking you out. I can see you, but we still have limits. We still have limits.
Yeah, we still have limits. Yeah, and your boundaries are based on like once you get to know yourself, you'll get to know what boundaries that you need to set. Like working with. So I guess the best thing I'll say, it's like knowing that self is like the best thing you could ever do for yourself, because the more that you understand yourself, you understand what triggers you, what works for you. Like I remember I said about the other day, say, I'm not talking about that with you. And they didn't like it. They didn't like it. And I could feel it. And it was like, I was like, I'm not going to explain it. I'm just simply, and it's okay for people to sit in discomfort. Let me tell y'all, someone who doesn't want people to feel discomfort, it like makes me uncomfortable. It would make me uncomfortable if you were uncomfortable. But now I'm learning like it's okay for you to be uncomfortable. It's okay. You're grown. You're grown.
Okay. You're grown. I'm grown. Like you said, it's okay.
It's okay. We will figure it out. And also being able to respect people's boundaries. I'm not going to act like I don't have a flaw, right? Sometimes when people set boundaries with me, it was like uncomfortable because, well, the more you learn about setting your own, the more comfortable you get with people doing it. But sometimes you still have moments where you're like, but I want access to this. I want to do this. And I want to do what I want to do. And it's like, I have to respect you as a person. So sometimes we talk about all these things that we want, but you have to be able to like be on the other end of all of those same things.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Seeing both sides of the spectrum, like duality. I love to talk about duality. Just the two spectrums we have, two perspectives of just me being a human and then you being a human and seeing it from your eyes, that empathy and that sympathy of like seeing it from your point of view and seeing it from my point of view, and keeping again that a little bit of separation, but then again, it's really not even separation. It's just more so just understanding what you can take on and what you cannot. Like everything is not meant for you to hold and try to fix and figure out. Like sometimes people have to deal with things on their own, and other times, you can extend that helping hand, but don't feel like you can fix or do everything all by yourself at all points. Like you got to maneuver. You got to learn how to maneuver and learn how you can maneuver in this world.
Yeah. Well, okay, we're gonna close out with the finishing segment, but that was just so good. So many good things said today, tonight, and this evening. So what I like to close every episode out with is how are we deciding to be limitless, right? So post this conversation, what is the mindset that we're taking away that is allowing us to be more limitless?
So, being more limitless. The first thing that came to my mind is being fearless. Like you were saying earlier, you just kind of like, went and sent the DM, was like, whatever happens, happens. Like, it's okay being fearless and just doing and stepping into my power, doing what I feel is right, what I feel is, going to help me grow and truly expand, no matter how crazy or scary it may seem. Just doing it, being fearless in whatever and I do, because once you have that faith, once you believe in yourself, you are then believing in a higher power, and once you believe in that, you are able to achieve any and everything and receive it all as well. So being fearless, not letting those self beliefs, those limited beliefs in my mind stop me from being limitless, because they are limited. The beliefs are limited, but my consciousness is not limited. It's eternal. It's forever. It's limitless. It's forever expanding. So letting it do what it do and be in this world. Yes.
That was a good one. Way to like bring us to the beginning of the episode. That was good. I forgot about that. Right. I love that. Okay, actually. Okay. So for me, how I'm deciding to be limitless after this conversation here is by honoring my boundaries, by honoring the things that I put in place to protect me, to keep me healthy, to keep me whole, sane, and safe. Honoring those but boundaries can make you feel like you're being limited in some spaces, but sometimes it's not the art to try to be everything or do everything or be something you're not. The art is sometimes understanding who you are and navigating that space the best that you can. So I'm excited to be limitless by honoring and putting in place and honoring the boundaries that I put in place and showing myself, yeah, girl, I respect you and I love you.
Love it. That self-love. That self-love. Give it all to you. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Oh, yes. Okay, y'all. So in closing this episode, we talked about boundaries. We talked about your mind over your feelings. We talked about getting out of your comfort zone and being more fearless and getting to know yourself with some of those tools and modalities. So I really hope that this conversation has been expansive for you. I pray that it reaches who it's supposed to and that it touches you in the ways that it's supposed to. I always say that whether you like this conversation or you didn't like this conversation, either way, it brought you closer to your truth. And that's just a fact. Okay. So before we close out, do you want to share like your social media where they can find you, or they can find that good TikTok that I saw that I was like, that's so good. I love that.
Right. I will, because this is about to get me more, consistent with the work. So I am on all social media platforms at Akeiyah. That is my name, Akeiyah. You also can type in Okasan Key. So Okasan is OKAASANKEI. Okasan actually means mother in Japanese, and that's like the other persona I picked up due to the fact of just throwing all this information online. I'm like, I feel like I'm just nurturing and giving people just that motherly love of like, just wisdom and knowledge and love and positivity. So yes, Okasan Ki or Akeiyah, all social media platforms. What else? Oh yes, go follow the business page as well. Zena, Zehna. So Zena is my brand. I created that, and it means beautiful because we are seeing the world in a beautiful new light, a new perspective, truly just seeing, more of what is around us and not truly just the problems, but the solution and the wonders and the mystics and all the good energy, like all of that good stuff. So yes, go follow the brand Zena, Zehna. I also have a Patreon as well if y'all want to join that. And then if you are in the Atlanta area or, in this surrounding Florida panhandle, because I'm back and forth from Florida and Atlanta. But if you're in any of those areas, I'm building a community, so I'm doing events and stuff, and I'm actually putting an event together now as we speak. So within the next month in Atlanta, it will be like around the spring equinox. Y'all can join me.
Ooh,
I'm putting stuff together. Yes, it's like a lot more so for the introverts because it's going to be really seclusive and just intimate. But any and everybody is able to join. I would just want all like-minded people there so we can have more discussions like this. This is what I love. Like, I love speaking to people. I love just experiencing life together, and again, just sharing those thoughts, those ideas, how we feeling, and just helping each other just grow, glow, and flow together. So I believe that is it. This
like I said, we gonna need the spring equinox because I don't know about you, but the new year didn't feel like the new year. I felt like I was still in last year.
And was it, girl?
The new year is not until the spring equinox because I don't know what.
Yes. No, for real, because like I said during the podcast, I was going through something and I literally told my sister, I'm like, this was really just the end of that 2023 year. So going into numerology just a little bit, 2023 equals 7. 7 is the internal, so self-realization, you introspecting. It's all about self. And what I went through with just like that dark night of the soul, ego death type situation, it was truly just, again, being more aware of myself, knowing myself, getting to know myself again in a deeper level. Like I'm a whole new person, and you're just actually catching me at the end of it because 2024 hasn't really started. The new year is in here, so y'all catching me at the end. We about to transform, okay? Yeah. We are changing. This year, yes, it's a whole change. It's bigger and better things. Let's say that much. Bigger and better. Like, the come up, y'all can watch the growth.
No, this year feels like it. So if y'all in the area, make sure y'all go out because this year definitely, it feels like new energy, a new time to come out of the introspection. I don't know a lot about the numerology, but I know that this is the year of 8.
Yes.
And I know that's like about the like, it's not about karma, about getting, what you put out, you get back, right? The infinity. So, yeah.
And it's about money and all that good stuff. So just think what you put in is what you get out situation. So whatever energy you are emitting and radiating, you're going to get that back times 10. So make sure you just vibrating on that positivity, giving love, giving light whenever you need to. Don't get me wrong. It's a balance in this world. So sometimes you do have to give out some dark. You do have to give out some fire and some, some attitude or whatever it needs to be. But okay, for real. But with that, just make sure your intentions are good. Make sure you are not just doing it just because you are feeling some type of way or, it's negativity. You are doing it off good intentions because, again, what you put out is what you're going to get back in. So make sure you are putting out good and receive good back.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And you guys know you can follow me at Authentically Sean if you want to follow me personally. If you want to follow the podcast, it is at Limitless Conversations. And all of it's always linked in the description of wherever you're watching this. And And that wraps up this amazing episode. Again, like, thank you so much for coming on here today. Like, I truly appreciate your energy and just sharing, like, your brain with us. Like, you took your brain, you just put it on the table and let us, like, and let us really, like, pick it. But I appreciate you so much. And you guys know that we'll be back with another episode next week. So I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.